right. Well, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. It's the first time as a speaker here. I was before as a guest. I think it was 2 years ago, and now Tom convinced me to hold a presentation. I will talk with you about, share with you my experience with autonomous coding agents. Let's start with this picture here. What am I doing here? This is probably the first questions that you are asking yourself, and what I'm here on the bike, I'm doing my weekly workout. I have on the left, you see Swift, the tool that I use for my training. And in the front here, you see VS Code. And what I'm doing here is I'm generating code, I'm programming using my voice. And two questions that you are asking yourself, why am I doing that? And how am I doing that? The why is, it was just, I think, working out on the bike is a bit boring activity, and I wanted my time to pass faster. And what's more interesting than what makes time go fast for me, it's doing a challenging task while coding, producing some code. And the second question, how am I doing that? It is with autonomous coding agents. In that case, it is with Klein and using Mac Whisper to dictate what the agent should develop for me. Now, a question to the audience: who has used Copilot before? All right, almost the majority. Who has used autonomous coding tools like Klein, Windsurf, Cursor, or Eddy? Okay, so the minority. So for you, probably there's not so much new thing. Not so much new information this talk. Maybe I will share some experience about that. And for the others, I will show you how this works and what are my best, what is the best way to make sure that these agents develop the right code for you, that they don't make mistakes. Good. First, who am I? I'm Silvan. I'm CTO of a software development company in Switzerland, in Zurich here. We have 40 developers. And what you see here is not my business, but is what I'm doing on the weekend. So I'm doing a lot of different, developing small little applications. And many of these applications, I would say, I spent weeks to develop them, but nowadays with tools like Klein or RuCode or so, I would have reduced this effort into maybe half an hour. So it dramatically, using such tools dramatically improved my productivity when developing new applications. Now, how does that work? I will make a demo here, and I hope the tools are in a good mood today so that they deliver a nice piece of code here. So I will use my voice here. So I'm at the Tech Talk here, and I would like to make a demonstration of a coding agent. And what I want you to do is to create the reservation tool for this tech talk. This means people should be able to see a seat layout. I would say we have 3 rows and 15 seats each. And the user should be able to select the seats and then reserve those seats. And these seats should be then marked in the tool. Do it just in the front end, just for demo purposes, and make sure it's not more than 900 pixels wide. So what you see here on the left side is Klein. That's my favorite extension for generating code. And I will start that now. And now the agent is starting to develop that code. It decides to use an HTML file, CSS file, and JavaScript file. Totally reasonable for such a small application. What you also see in this tool, is the cost that this generates, because the tool that I'm using here is, I don't know if it's visible from the back. Maybe I need to change that. I think I can't do that here. So up to now we have spent 15 cents for that. And what you see here is the agentic workflow. And now this is something interesting that I haven't seen in these other agentic coding tools. What it tries to do is it uses Claude's computer use feature and tries to test the application itself by controlling a browser. And you see it has quite a bit of a weird way to select seats. I didn't give, but it's the first time I see that. You know, I've tried that numerous times, and every time it was a bit different. So it's always a bit of a surprise. So does that work? Still doing something here. Honestly, I find that a bit of a gimmick, because you're much faster if you just open it in the browser and you try it yourself. So yeah. Okay, I see this variant isn't as doesn't list the seats that have been selected like the other variants. That's interesting. Every time it's a bit different. You can see this is a different one. It looks like this here. So it always depends a bit on the daily mood of the tool. Of course, you can guide it more closely than how I did it right now. So here it seems that it's stuck at that point. It doesn't do anything anymore, or it's, let's see if I can resume that. Well, I will skip to the next step, the step that Tom is interested in, how to deploy that. And we're going to use Nine's infrastructure deployo for this. And to do that, I will start here a new task and give the instructions. So I would like you to deploy that application to deployo, and I will provide you the URL to the website where there are instructions how to deploy. So also be aware you have a GitHub MCP server, so you can create a new repository. And I cannot already tell you, create the repository, push the code there, and then deploy it from from there via the nctl script. So I know a bit about Deployo and the tools from 9. All right, so I need to provide the website where there is information about Deployo. And now what it should do, it should go to the website, fetch the documentation, and then use that to figure out what command line to execute. So what you see here is it's using Firecrawl. That's the tool I'm using to fetch the data from websites. Did it find the information? Okay. Now I have a better understanding of how to deploy static sites to Deployo. So it understood what to do. Now it needs to create the GitHub repository. Here I have integrated the GitHub MCP servers, so that extension which allows the agent to talk to GitHub. I will approve that here. So it created the repository. Now it's always doing the same mistake. It's trying to upload the files via an API call. That's not efficient. So I interrupted it. So don't upload the files via API call. That's inefficient. Use the terminal for that. It doesn't probably see my hand movements here, my gestures, and neither my tone. So let's see if it understands what to do. All right, it can now control the terminal here. It commits. It I'm so scared. All right. Now we have the demo effect. It has some troubles here. 9 control is already installed, huh? 9 nctl is already installed. You just need to use it. Yeah, I think that looks better. Yeah. Yeah, now it goes. Yeah, sometimes it needs some guidance. It's interesting. I've tried it 4 times. It's the first time I have this behavior. But it knows probably that it's a live demo in front of an audience. So yeah, you see, it deploys the application, and in a couple of minutes, you will see that it's reachable. Maybe in the meantime, I can say a few things about Klein, my preferred tool here. What I yeah, it worked now, huh? Where's the URL? It's here. Okay, the certificate is probably not yet deployed. Let's give it some time here. Yeah, what I can tell you here, what's interesting with this tool, in contrast to Windsurf or Cursor, is that you can freely choose from tons of different models. You can, a second thing I like is that that big choice of MCP server, where you can integrate, let the agent contact Spotify and use that. I don't have a use case at the moment, so that this is very useful in Klein. Let's see if in the meantime, yeah, now we have it. It's deployed, yeah, and it works. We see deployment with deployer is a matter of seconds. Yeah. I also used it to deploy an application to Kubernetes. And here's another an example of an application I also built fully with Klein. It's a tool to prepare myself for a meeting. It was a meeting about data security, and I really had a hard time memorizing all these regulations, so I built this tool. It allows to manage questions here. You get statistics. This has been fully done without any line of coding that I did, including the deployment. An open source tool to, another example is an open source tool to add subtitles to videos using Whisper and FFmpeg. I wanted to show another example where I wanted to show a customer about the difference of performance on an LLM between one user and 10 users. And I created this tool 10 minutes after I hanged up the call with this customer. He was impressed that I immediately was able to demonstrate something such a short time after I spoke with him about the topic of LLM performance. So I found many applications in my domain as a CTO for these agentic coding assistants. Yeah, so, but of course, I believe you can't use it for everything. And you have to follow certain rules when you use them. Otherwise, you will be frustrated. Yeah. So to wrap up what my setup was here in that example, I use Mac Whisper to dictate. I had Klein in VS Code as an open source free extension to provide these agentic capabilities. Klein is connected to Sonnet 3.7. That's just my favorite one. I've tried many of these of the models and services. I'm using Firecrawl to get information from websites, Postgres, and GitHub. And these are all connected via this MCP protocol, so it's highly extensible. And Klein is using files and terminal and the browser, like I demonstrated that before. I said that some experience that I made about when to use it and when not to use it. At the moment, in 1 year, it might be different. For me, it works best for small code bases. I haven't used it for really our production large code bases that we develop at the office. If you use it for Python, TypeScript, Tailwind, these kind of things, it works very well because it has that knowledge baked in. Don't try to use it for languages like brainfuck. Anyone knows that language? Okay. Well, I haven't tried it. Maybe it works. It works nicely for backend heavy tasks. It cannot really see yet. It doesn't have a sense of aesthetic. It's my experience. That's why for front-end heavy tasks, I don't use it that much, or unless I don't care about the design. However, I read today about V0dev. V0dev, I think it's... Does anyone know V0dev? Okay. Is it good, the quality of the design that it produces?
I mean, it's okay, but I haven't used it. I just know it.
Ah, okay. Okay, so yeah. Apparently, it's good. And then I recommend to use for technologies that you understand, because it does make mistake, and you should be, eventually it gets stuck in loops and you need to fix those loops. You need to help it sometimes. So although I've heard of people who claim to have built the whole application without ever, without a computer science degree, without knowing how to code. But I'm not sure if the code quality is really, if it's really that maintainable, what you get. No. Yeah, then 4 things that I'm trying to, that helped me get most of the productivity, most of the best quality out of these tools is, there's this thing called memory bank. It's like an extension or a custom instruction for Klein, where you tell the agent to write down every thought, the application structure and the project structure into files. And so after every task, it should write the information into files. And then when a new session is started, it should first read what is in those files to understand the general project structure. And this has, I made the same experience like this user here. Once you add memory bank and populate it, it works like magic. And that's also my experience. And of course, keeping the file under 250 lines of code, you should anyhow do that, even if you do manual development. So the same rules apply to agentic coding and manual coding. Then verify the produced code carefully. So this developer here, it's too small for you to read, said, I tried the AI approach here again. It provided me a script, but it didn't work. And that's funnily, after some time, he said, I tried to debug. I asked, what model did you use? And then suddenly he said, oh, you know, I'm wrong here. Sorry, the code is working. So what's interesting here is that he was a bit biased, and he expected errors here. And although in that case, he didn't really verify the code very carefully. Then I like generating unit tests to the code, or have the agent generate unit tests. And the most important thing is that you get familiar with those tools, get a feeling, what can it do, where are the limitations, and then you can become friends with those agents and also use it, I don't know, on your to write application on your stationary bike, on the treadmill, or even while doing the dishes, you can create an application. Yeah, so this wraps it up. Are there any questions or comments? I know some people are experienced with, you nodded often, you have some experience with that kind of agentic tools.
I'm just wondering for how long you use those agentic tools and how you feel like it developed over time in terms of the more complex code base, which you already discussed you should not use yet. Do you feel like we're getting there at some point, or?
Oh, I definitely, so I'm using them for, I think my first contact point was with windsurf. It was in November. And there has been some development since then, but windsurf was a big step forward. I wasn't really happy with Cursor, and I'm sure that we will get there where the agents have a better understanding about the whole code base, or these tools, they include some means to help the agents to get the context already built in the tool. So I believe that engineers for the simple task will always use those tools eventually. Yeah. No more boring tasks anymore for us.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I just think one remark, what would be great is if they would be capable to say, I'm not capable in doing that. This is the one thing I'm missing when working with those things. It's like always there to please and never able to say, I think you should validate what I did.
Yeah, that's true. That's a really good point. Yeah. Yeah.
I find it funny because you always kind of ask it, make it better, and it sometimes finds like its own security bugs, for example. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Are you sure it's secure? Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I have one question. So, how often you still drop into editing by hand? You know, you do everything by voice, but how often you?
Yeah, honestly, that editing by voice was a bit of a show here. Although the one with on the bike was for real. That was really not set up. I think when I'm at home, I do it by voice, and at the, I think 75% of the cases, and at the office, I don't want to disturb everyone, so I type. Yeah.
One more question. So, how much does your weekend project cost you? Because this one was more like 50 cents.
Yeah, the older one, the cost went probably from, you mean token wise, the quiz generator was $10, the one. Yeah.
You should try multiple things like Cursor, Windsor, like for some more complex. What do you prefer, or what do you notice in GitHub? I try Copilot.
Yeah.
Cursor is okay.
Yeah.
I'm using it a lot.
I moved. Yeah. So I started to work seriously with windsurf, and then eventually I just felt it didn't work that nicely anymore. I switched to Rue code, and now I'm at using Klein, but it's also always like a gut feeling. I can't tell you exactly why I did those moves. Maybe it is the, I know for Klein, for example, I like that bar that you can see how much of the context is being used, and to see the cost. So yeah, I don't have solid reasoning why I'm using Klein. What I like about Klein is that it's VS Code, it's open source, and you don't have to pay a monthly fee. Yeah. What? Yeah.
Because I don't know how does it work. You have to have subscriptions to the other.
Yes. Cursor and Windsurf, they have subscriptions. Yeah. And Klein and Rue code, or you just provide your API key.
You have to account with
Yeah.
other providers and so on.
Exactly. There I'm paying Anthropic or.
So
Yeah.
have you tried it with local LLM models?
Yeah, I tried it, but it didn't work.
Make
Nice.
mini cluster.
Excuse me?
So make mini clusters required. So you need like a terabyte of memory and stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, maybe that's a different thing. It works. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
It's really so the CloudSonnet 3.7. That's a huge step forward.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all the earlier stuff is not that good.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. What tool are you using?
I worked with Dyn as well. I tried Cursor, but I didn't like the monthly payments.
Yeah.
And then I also get a step back because I felt like and at some point they're going to offer me to hire their engineers, which are models as well and agents. So,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so yeah, let's be careful about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So you also like the control over models, the transparency that Klein or Rue code is providing. Yeah. Okay.
I have one more question. So you say you like to generate your unit tests or tests
Mm-hmm.
with the AI, but shouldn't you be in control? Like you provide the test. If you already have the AI generating the code, and then the AI generates also the test.
Yeah, but
where's the human in the loop? Like, wouldn't you use that as a verification?
it has two reasons. One is unit tests are often for me easier to read than the actual code. Do I have the example here? And the second thing is with the unit test, I can let the AI test its code by itself. It's kind of a self-test, and it showed to me that it can help. It increases the bug detection rate if you have unit tests.
Interesting. But it could also just generate a test that totally kind of missed the bug that it introduced itself, right? Because it looks at the code. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely. You have to review at least the unit test. That's
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
My experience with unit tests is essentially because there's way much more unit tests in a wall than the actual code. So
Mhm.
it seems to have way much more training data for that. At least that's my experience with front-end code.
Mhm.
How it is.
Yeah, cool. Looking at the time, huh? So,